Welcome back to another episode of Sewing Instead of Shopping. I'm so excited to announce that I have now done 3 whole months of not buying any new clothes. But I won't lie, I have bought some shoes, but that doesn't count because I can't make shoes. And before we get started, Luna wanted to say hello. Are you excited to sew? She's not. If you watched my last video, I am so grateful. I got so many lovely comments and feedback from that video and I had so much fun making it, and I'm so glad that you also enjoyed it. Now, if you haven't watched that video, to summarize, I am trying to sew instead of shop because I already have the sewing skills. I did a 6-month course on sewing. I also, for the last 2 years, have been actively self-teaching to sew. And so I think it's time for me to really take that seriously because I love it, but also because I'm almost done with my clothing budget for the year. There's so many things I'm going to this summer that I would like. Just some cute clothes and cute bits, and I don't necessarily want to buy stuff. In this episode, I have a few more things that I want to make. I really want to try and use textiles that I already have, which includes clothes in my cupboard that I want to upcycle, as well as using the fabric that I have in my stash. I've already planned the first 2 projects that I've been meaning to work on. I have this a really lovely dress I've had for years. It's this white dress with 2 tiers, long sleeved, really good fabric, breathable. Every single summer I bring it out. However, it's a little bit shorter than I would like for it to be. I would like to actually turn this into a top. My idea is to basically use the ruffle at the bottom of the skirt and then take that and shorten the top to make it like a 2-tiered ruffle dress. And I feel like I would probably get more wear of this because I can wear it with jeans, with trousers. The dress has lining, which I'm going to use to my advantage. I basically am going to cut off the end layer of this and then reattach it to the inside lining and basically have this 2-tiered ruffle effect. It is such a shame though because it's a really pretty dress. I just wish it was a bit longer. I'm now also going to cut the lining so that it is shorter than this first layer of ruffle. I actually think it looks quite nice as is. I thought it would be too short, but I quite like it, and I was playing around to see how the second layer would look like, and I think it might be too frilly, and so I might actually just finish the top here, hem the bottom, hem the lining. I'm kind of annoyed that I made the lining so short now, and then pivot and use the ruffle for something else. So let me finish this top off first. For the hem, I'm going to do a rolled hem, which basically means folding it over twice and then just sewing a straight stitch. For the lining, I will just overlock that because you're not going to be able to see the edge when I am wearing it. Project 1 is complete. I'm really happy with the final result. The second project that I want to work on is to essentially adjust these trousers I made. This was the first ever pair of trousers I made. They actually turned out so beautiful. I think I did a really amazing job. However, there is a few fit issues. The front and the back are identical, so the fit is not the best. It's good, but it's not the best. And then finally, I really want to add pockets. I feel like that is the biggest piece missing from these, and I'm really excited to have these back in rotation. I really do love them, and I have this top that I sewed that I really want to wear it as a matching set with. The first thing I'm going to do is essentially take off the waistband. I need to adjust how the top of the trousers fit. This pattern is basically the front matches the back, and so the fit is okay, but it could be better. And I'm basically going to use this to adjust how the top is cut. I've placed the pattern pieces on top, and as you can see, this is where the front of the pants is, and this is where the back. And as you can see, there's going to be more fabric at the front, which I'm cutting, because the pants, they're supposed to be a little bit more further up on your backside because you have a bum. I made this pattern pocket a while back and it's a bit too small, so I'm basically going to use this pattern but make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to use the lining that I'd cut off the white dress to make the pockets, so it's a nice good use of the fabric. All that's left to do is overlock the pockets and then insert them, which means I'm going to have to seam rip the sides to actually insert the pockets. I'm feeling a little grumpy. I'm just feeling very low energy. But I have added the pockets. I just now need to sew all around, and then the final step will be adding the waistband. The pain of putting in these pockets was worth it because they came out so good. I'm so happy with the finished result, and I'm so happy that I can finally have these trousers back in rotation. And my favorite thing about it is that I can wear it with this matching top I made, which is just so adorable. Moving forward, I am never ever making trousers without pockets ever again, because I don't want to have to do this again. I've taken some time to think about what I want to make next. Now I have this really beautiful white linen fabric, and I'd like to incorporate that ruffle that I pulled from the top that I made and use that. So combining old textiles with new textiles, it's going to be a skirt and top combo. For the skirt, the idea is basically a maxi skirt with kind of like an A-line shape. And then what I will do is I will use that panel, that ruffled tier, and add that to the bottom. And I think that's going to look really beautiful. The pattern that I'm going to be using for the skirt is New Look 6163, but I have heavily altered it. I used the biggest size available, and then I graded it even further to make sure that the waist portion, so right at the top, that actually passes over my hips, because I'm going to be installing this with an elastic waistband. I'm not going to be adding a zipper, and so it needs to pass my hips. Next is to basically just cut my pattern onto my linen. Fingers crossed the skirt comes out lovely, and I really hope that it just comes out exactly in like the vision that's in my head, because this is really nice fabric and I would hate to fudge this up basically. Now that my skirt pieces are cut up, the next step is to sew the two sides of the skirt together, and I'll be doing that with the right sides facing each other. I completely forgot to anticipate for the fact that this linen is quite sheer and I do need lining. So there's a chance I might not be able to finish this skirt depending on whether the fabric store is open or not. But I'm going to try and do as much as I can today, overlocking all the other bits of the skirt, the top of the skirt, the bottom, and the inseam. I went to the shops, and unfortunately my local fabric shop is closed, but that's fine. I think I will just order the lining online. In the meantime, I need to add the ruffled panel to the bottom of the skirt. I do have a sewing tutorial on how to create ruffles using a basting stitch, so I will link that video if you are interested in just hearing a more in-depth explanation. But essentially what I'm going to do is I measured the panel and then I cut it in two. I did trim a little bit off it, and essentially what that means is the total width of that whole panel combined is about 1.7 times the width of the bottom of my skirt, and that means when I gather the fabric it will have quite a full ruffle, which is the look that I want to go for. The reason I cut the ruffle piece in two is I just thought it would make it easier when I'm creating the ruffle to make it more even. In the last few days, my lining came, which was great, so I cut out my pattern for the lining. Now, my skirt the shape was off, so I did actually end up altering the pattern a little bit, but I didn't film, where I took out a lot of the hip because it was basically like doing this, and I made it more this. So I did that and then cut out my lining. I then attached my lining to the main skirt. And added a waistband. I also added the ruffle at the bottom of the skirt, which I'm really happy about. I do think the skirt looks really nice, but I am thinking of adding like a design element, and this design element will be like a belt which you can take on and off. I made it for some trousers that I did in my last sewing episode. I do need the linen for the top I want to make, so I need to make sure that I don't use too much of this to make the belt. So I'm going to just try and use as little fabric as possible. The skirt looks so good on. I am so happy with it. I love the fit. I love the length. I do also like the addition of the belt, although I love that I can just kind of like take it off and put it on. And I love how it looks like with this other blouse that I made. And I'm just genuinely so excited with how this came out. Adding lining was such a good shout because I definitely feel a lot more like secure. This one was definitely a win. For the top, I would like to challenge myself to make something with sleeves. Up until this point, outside of sewing class, I've never actually installed sleeves or made anything with sleeves on my own. So I've gone ahead and sketched out an idea for a blouse. Kind of like to have a square neck with long sleeves, and then to use that ruffle on the end of the sleeves. I also think I want to add elastic channels to the sleeves to kind of just bunch the sleeves up like this. And then for the zip, I will probably add a zip to the side seam. I'm really excited for these pieces. I think the top will look really beautiful with the skirt and also just worn on its own. So fingers crossed that this actually just comes out exactly how I envision it, because the linen fabric is very beautiful. It is another day and I am now ready to start working on my blouse. Something that I've started actively doing when I sew is really making sure I take my time to do a good job, and that means doing mock-ups for things that I haven't really made before. With the bodice, the pattern that I basically started off with is the New Look 6163, the top B. I just really liked the neckline of this, but I completely altered this pattern. I made it form-fitting, so close-fitting, and then I also added princess seams. That whole process was really long. I did so many mock-ups for it. I honestly wouldn't even know how to recreate this, but that's what I did. I altered a pattern, added princess seams, took it in heaps. And then obviously for the sleeves, I had this pattern lying around, and this is the Suzanne shirt dress. I am going to take the sleeve pattern and incorporate that onto my bodice. Gonna try and do the mock-up today, and fingers crossed it just works and it looks good and I don't have to do any adjustments. I love being able to use old textiles, things like old bed sheets, to make things like this, because it just means it's prolonging their lives and it's also just cheap. It is the next day. Let's finish this mock-up. Ignore how crinkly the fabric looks like, and yes, there is only one sleeve, and I know you can see my bra showing, but anyway, ignore all of that. It fits the body well. Originally, I was going to add a zip on the side, but I'm just going to scrap that whole idea and just do a zip on the center back right here. I think this will look really nice with a skirt, and I am looking forward to seeing how this will look like on my nice linen fabric. It has been quite some time since that last clip, but today I have time to finally sit down and make this. I'm going to be cutting out my linen fabric, which I have ironed, my lining as well. With the lining, I'm only going to have lining on the bodice. The sleeves I'm not going to have lining. It is the middle of a heat wave as well today. I can feel my energy reserves dwindling. I am actually so unserious. But this is why I never title these videos "Sewing My Entire Wardrobe in 7 Days", because that's not what we're doing here. Okay, it's all about being slow, sustainable, and also just not having time. The lining is done and it looks really good. I'm quite happy with how that's sewed, but I am going to go for a walk, try and get some sunshine before the day ends. It was so beautiful outside. I feel relaxed, refreshed. I've had dinner. I've put on a comfy Dira, a house dress. We are going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to be taking you to my sewing course with me. Now, I'm coming towards the end of it. We have about 4 weekends left, and a lot of the work that we're doing now is just self-projects, and I want to finish this blouse, and I'm just going to go into uni and finish it today. All that's left to do is really insert the sleeves, add the ruffles to the end, and then I want to add like an elastic channel on the sleeves. Also, I made this top. I wore it in my last video as well, but I'm actually wearing it out. I love wearing the stuff that I make. It's the main reason I love to sew and design and create things. I will see you on my iPhone. Class was so much fun today. I had the best time sewing this top. I love using their machines. Now, initially, I was gonna add channels to the wrist, but I tried it on and honestly, guys, it looks so beautiful as it is. The shape is so pretty, and I just feel like it's more unique now, and adding the elastic would actually take away from the design. So I'm gonna leave it as it is, and I'm gonna show you how it looks. How insane does this look? How beautiful is this blouse? When I put it on, I was so shocked because it is exactly what I envisioned. I love how the sleeves look really dramatic, and putting this on was so much easier because of how I placed the zip. I also just love how it looks like with the skirt. This whole set is just so beautiful, and I'm so excited to wear this together for the summer. I have worn both of these individually with other things, but together it's just like chef's kiss. Also, but how professional does this look like, considering this whole thing is basically self-drafted, i.e. borrowed from different patterns. Not exactly self-drafted, but a win is a win. I'm so happy with this. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I'm so grateful for you watching and following this journey of me sewing instead of shopping. And I'm so excited just to continue sewing and growing and like experimenting and making more beautiful pieces. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!